Hey everyone, Zephyr here, and welcome to another speed build in The Sims 2. This one is gonna be a long one, so maybe you should pause the video, grab a snack, and grab a drink, and unpause and sit back and relax and enjoy it because we're gonna be here for a while. This house is for Sims who are quite wealthy. I was thinking either upper middle class, possibly entering the realm of upper class. But basically, these Sims have money. When I was making this house, I did have a family in mind. I was imagining two parents, a teenage son, and a preteen daughter. In my head, one of the parents is very artsy. They like photography, they like painting, and they're actually like a pretty famous photographer. You know, as famous as photographers can be. Like, I don't personally know any famous photographers, but I'm sure there's people in certain fields who, the fangirl over certain photographers. But I imagine that the Sim is well known within their circles, and, magazines seek them out and cherish their photography. Celebrities seek them out. They're a big deal, okay? And I actually thought out the other parent too. Sometimes I forget about the other parent in these situations. I get excited about one and then I'm like, oh, the other one's just like a homemaker, which is valid. Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just sometimes it's not realistic and both parents are working, and I don't necessarily think about that sometimes, but I did in this situation. The other parent is a chess master. They play chess, okay? That's their thing. They're like a champion in chess. They're really good at it. But here we are finishing up the outside of the house. The house itself ends up having 4 bedrooms, including the office, and 3 bathrooms. And I actually ended up basing this house off of one reference picture, which I'll put in here. My number one tip if you're struggling to figure out what to build or struggling to build in The Sims is to look up reference pictures of real life houses and try to copy them. Some people take it a step further and they look up the house and they look up the layout of the house and they copy the house like to a T. But I just like looking up exterior shots of homes and kind of like using it as my base and creating my own layouts for the home. That's how I do it. And most of the time I'm only looking at the front of the build and I just kind of like make up the back of the build as I go. Maybe that's why the back of my builds kind of look kind of questionable sometimes, but we'll move past that. Yeah, I feel like I don't tend to do a lot of bigger builds in The Sims 2, and one of the things I want to do on this channel is showcase what The Sims 2 is capable of doing. I'm not calling out anyone in particular, but I feel like sometimes a lot of Sims 4 content creators, when they go back and play The Sims 2 and make a video for their audience, the videos are fine. I like watching them, okay? Like, I like seeing people experience The Sims 2, but I feel like they don't show entirely what The Sims 2 is capable of being like. Like, if you're just experiencing The Sims 2 for the first time or going back after, like, a decade of not playing it, you're not gonna know how to, play the game properly. You're gonna forget some things. You're not gonna be the best builder, probably. And I just want to, like, show what the game can be like as someone who primarily plays The Sims 2, and I want to show that you can have nice houses, you can, have good looking Sims, you can have fun and interesting gameplay. I want to show the world, I guess, like, how great The Sims 2 really is. And I feel like I wouldn't be doing the game justice if all my builds were just like tiny homes or smaller homes. Like, I want to show you guys like the mansions and maybe even castles that you can create in The Sims 2. I want to make more extravagant builds, and this is my first attempt at kind of doing that on this channel. Oh, and as a little disclaimer, I'm aware I'm not a special little snowflake. There's other people on YouTube making arguably better Sims 2 content than me, okay? I'm not the only person out there playing The Sims 2. But that's just the vibe I want to have on this channel, okay? I want to be able to showcase the game I love and do the game justice. And I'm aware there's other people doing that too, but I want to be included in that group, okay? Let me join the cool kids. Or let me, like, sit at the table next to them or something. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to talk about, like, what I envision for my channel. So here we are finishing the outside of the house. As you can see, I used a lot of dark windows, which is exciting to me because it's something that I don't normally do. Normally, I'm, like, a white window girl. I use white windows in the majority of my builds, but the reference picture for this house had dark windows, and I was like, you know what, let's try it, and I think it turned out really cute on this house. I do realize if I want to broaden my Sims 2 horizons and showcase what this game is about, I need to start using items I'm not normally used to using. Also, another little disclaimer that I just thought of. I do use a lot of custom content in my builds, and honestly, a lot of the items are originally Sims 4 items or Sims 4 CC items converted for The Sims 2. And one could argue, like, playing The Sims 2 with custom content is not really, showing off what The Sims 2 is, like, but I'm saying that I want to show off what The Sims 2 is capable of, and I feel like The Sims 2 shines when you use custom content. Because honestly, in the base Sims game, when I say base Sims games, I'm meaning, like, The Sims 2 and all of its expansion packs and stuff packs. They're all kind of like blended together in my head because it's been, a while since Apartment Life came out, and the majority of people who play The Sims 2 actually play the Ultimate Collection, and like, I don't think of it as expansion packs anymore. I just think of it as The Sims 2. But The Sims 2 as a game is great, but there's not a lot of items in the game when you're building. And I really feel like when you're building homes in The Sims 2, it's just easier to build with custom content, and you get more out of the game if you have custom content in it. And I don't think that is a bad thing about The Sims 2. I think the custom content community in all of the Sims games are incredible, and I like to be able to showcase that. The custom content community basically provides free updates to The Sims 2, like, on a daily basis. Like, you can go on Tumblr and always find something new and exciting for your Sims game, and I think that's fantastic. And it's honestly one of my favorite things about the game is how you can, like, download custom content, change your game up, and it still feels like The Sims 2, but better. Like, you can make the game your own. And I want to showcase that on my channel too. It actually didn't take me too long to figure out the layout of this build, which is surprising because a lot of times, even in smaller houses, I'm spending a large portion of the video trying to figure out the layout. A lot of the times I have to, like, cut out me trying to figure out the layout because I try, like, 3 or 4 different variations before I settle on the right one, but this one came to me pretty quickly, which is surprising to me because this is obviously a bigger house. The first floor of the house has the 2 kids' bedrooms and the office, and the parents get the upstairs along with their own ensuite bathroom. Maybe having the primary bedroom upstairs and having the kids' bedrooms downstairs is kind of unrealistic. Like, I imagine when the kids were younger, they probably had a little crib set up in the parents' bedroom because, like, why would you have a newborn downstairs and sleep upstairs by yourselves? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I'm not a parent, so maybe I don't know, but I feel like they probably would have had a little cradle upstairs. For the first couple months of the kids' lives, maybe the first year of the kids' life, they sleep up there. I don't know. But I'm sure both the parents and the kids appreciate the space between each other now that they're a little older and they can trust the kids to, just go to bed at night and not cause any trouble. I imagine that they all appreciate their respective privacy. So that's enough about the build for now. Like, if you know my speed builds, I don't normally sit here and talk about the build the whole time. Like, I literally can't. It's not in my blood, okay? I will continue to yap about the build later, but sometimes we need a little break to talk about other things that do not pertain to The Sims or the build in question, okay? That's just how it is on this channel. That, like, 7 minutes of primarily talking about the build is, like, a new record for me. So, like, you're just gonna have to accept that I want to talk about something else right now, because I gave you a lot of build talk. Now it's me time. I will say that I have been pretty intimidated by this voiceover. I mean, this video is 50 minutes long, and the idea of yapping for 15 minutes straight is kind of scary. And honestly, it's not even 15 minutes straight because I can't just sit here and, sit down, look at the clock, and okay, it's 3:10. So by 4 o'clock, I'm going to have this speed build done. The voiceover will be done, and, I can just upload it to the YouTube and call it a day. It doesn't work like that. I record these voiceovers in, like, minute long to 2 minute long segments most of the time, where I'm talking about a certain point and then I stop the recording and I put it on my video editing software, right? And then I have to like wait a couple minutes until another talking point comes to me, or I feel like talking again, because sometimes I just genuinely do not feel like talking. Like, it's a long process, and sometimes even recording like a 20-minute voiceover takes 3 hours. And the majority of my voiceovers are like 20 minutes, right? So the idea of recording a 50-minute one is scary. It's a lot, especially for someone like me who tends to procrastinate. It's just a lot to have to sink my teeth into. It's just a big challenge for me. And also, I feel like, I do genuinely like talking about other things when I am doing a speed build, like talking about, things that have happened to me and stuff. But I feel like I yapped about all of the interesting things that have happened to me recently in my last speed build. So it's like, what do I yap about now? I literally went on my community tab and I was like, hey guys, is there anything you guys want me to talk about? And like one person replied, which is cool. But like one topic isn't going to fill a whole 50-minute video. And it's obviously not your guys' job to tell me what to talk about in my video. But it's just, the whole thing is a little intimidating to me. But we're going to get through it. I've made a list of little things I want to talk about, and we'll get through it. If worst comes to worst, I can go back to talking about the build. But like I said, there's only so much I can talk about when it comes to the build. I build things because I think it looks nice. I'm not really good at talking about, like I've said before, the feng shui of the room or whatever. And I feel like there's only so much I can, like, offer you guys when I'm talking about the build. Like, if I'm sitting here being like, oh, I placed it here because I think it looked nice, I don't feel like that is interesting content to me. And I don't know how to make it more interesting. Like, I feel like there's some YouTubers, like, I literally have been watching longer speed builds in preparation for this voiceover to kind of see what other people do with it, right? And I feel like some people can sit there and talk about the build, and the majority do for the whole video, and it's still an interesting experience. But then when I try to do it, like, I can't sit here and elaborate on what I'm doing that much, or like make it interesting. Like, I just resort to yapping about other things. I will say, don't get too attached to the wallpaper that I end up choosing here for this kitchen, because I end up changing it later on in the video. I think it ends up looking better. I always struggle when it comes to Sims 2 kitchens. I always feel like I don't have enough counters to choose from. Even if I download custom content ones, I can never find like the right one to use. If you have any suggestions for Sims 2 counters, let me know, because I'm always looking for them and I can never find them. But the counters weren't necessarily a problem in this build. It was the wallpaper. I think I just end up changing the wallpaper. But I digress. We're not going to talk about the build. I said we're going to have me time, and that's what we're having. So when I posted asking for suggestions about what to talk about during the speed build, the one suggestion I got is to talk about the holidays, and I'm thankful for it, because it didn't really occur to me that it's holiday season. Like, it hasn't set in yet. And I think that's because I associate the holiday season after American Thanksgiving. And you might be thinking, Christina, you're a Canadian, why do you care about American Thanksgiving? Well, the Macy's Day Parade. The Macy's Day Parade has always been, like, super iconic to me, and I always associated the start of Christmas with, like, sitting down, watching the Macy's Day Parade, and seeing Santa Claus, you know? That is what gets me into the Christmas spirit, and we're just not there yet. Thanksgiving hasn't happened yet. I mean, it's happened to me, the Canadian, but it hasn't happened to the United States people, and the Macy's Day Parade people. So it doesn't feel official yet. But I suppose we could consider it the holiday season. I mean, stores around here are starting to play Christmas music. People are putting their decorations up. So let's talk about the holidays. I don't have any major plans for the holiday season. In fact, I have very chill plans. I want to make more of an effort to watch Christmas movies this year, so if you have any recommendations, let me know, whether they're good Christmas movies or bad. Like, I'm pretty much down for anything. When it comes to watching movies, like, pretty much anything is a good experience to me, as long as it's not, like, gory or whatever. So, just don't suggest Terrifier 3. I know that's a Christmas movie. Don't suggest it. But, like, there's a lot of, like, Hallmark, like, Christmas movies coming out, especially like on Netflix this year, so I might be dipping my toes into that. I know Chad Michael Murray has one coming out where he's like a male exotic dancer, and it's Christmas time, and I think I'm gonna watch that one. I feel like I'm legally obligated to watch that one now that I've met him and have his autograph. I gotta support him. I have to stan him, so I'm gonna be watching that one. And I do have a rotating list of things that I tend to watch during Christmas time anyway, like on a yearly basis. It's kind of become a tradition at this point. I watch the Flintstones Christmas. That is iconic to me. I watch that pretty much every year, and it's like a short little thing, but it's so good, and it's definitely puts me into the Christmas spirit. And I also often watch something a little bit more niche, and it's kind of silly, but hear me out. A Very Brady Christmas. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a TV, made for TV movie that came after the show The Brady Bunch. The majority of you probably know what The Brady Bunch was, but it was a sitcom about a blended family of a set of parents, 3 girls and 3 boys, and the episodes were about like 20 minutes long, and each episode they had a problem they faced that was eventually resolved at the end of the episode, kind of like a typical sitcom format. And the Christmas movie takes this concept and runs with it, because in the Christmas movie, all the kids are now like adults, and they're all coming home for Christmas, and they are each facing an issue. And also the parents are facing an issue, the dad's facing a pretty big issue, and even the maid is facing an issue. And at the end of the Christmas movie, all the issues are resolved, and it's just a nice, like, feel-good Christmas movie for me, and kind of nostalgic. So I watch that, like, every year. I recommend it. So we have moved on to the dining room. It's kind of like a simple dining room. There's not a lot to it. I think I placed down this table along with maybe a plant and some curtains. There's not a lot of wall space for this dining room, so I feel like it being kind of simple works out. But it's definitely a spot that your Sims can entertain at. It's a nice big long table, lots of rooms for Sims and activities, and I kind of like the kind of semi-open concept thing we have going on here. I like how I did this layout. Oh, I also placed down a bookshelf, and that's kind of like another tip I have when it comes to building in The Sims 2. If you have a large open space and you're not really sure what to do with it, like in a hallway or a room or whatever, place down a bookshelf. Like, it doesn't matter that there's already like 6 bookshelves on the lot. Place down another one. Trust me, it helps. The whole layout of the first floor is kind of interesting because I have this little dining nook, and then right next to it, I actually do a little living room area with a TV and sofa, and right next to that, I have a little sitting room area, and it all connects to like one hallway, but I kind of like how I laid it out. It's kind of unique, I think, but I think it fits well with this house. You're also going to see me place down a piano, which I was making an effort to actually place down multiple different things for my Sims to do in this house. I didn't want the house to be empty. I wanted like little activities for my Sims to be able to do, and placing down a piano made sense because, like I said, I imagine that one of the parents is very artsy. Even if neither of the parents are necessarily musically inclined, I feel like they find the arts like important, right? And I feel like they would have probably just like hired a music teacher for the kids and taught both the kids how to play piano. So that's kind of like the little storyline I had in my head for this piano. But also, I just wanted to make sure the house was filled with things for Sims to do, because sometimes I feel like I make houses in The Sims and I neglect to give my Sims stuff to do. Like, I'll give them the standard, like, TV, office space, bathroom, toilet, kitchen, but, like, I don't give them hobbies. And I was making an effort to, like, do that in this house because, like, why have a huge house and not have things to do in it, you know? Since you guys dropped the ball asking me questions or whatever that I could answer during the speed build, I literally asked ChatGPT to ask me questions. Okay, listen. It's rough out there, okay? So we're gonna have to create a pretend audience that engages in my Okay, it sounds like I'm salty, but I'm just trying to, like, make a joke. Like, you're not obligated to comment on my stuff. It's just that, like, I'm chill and I never comment on people's stuff because I'm a chill girl, okay? I just watch YouTube. But I need things to talk about, so I asked ChatGPT to ask me questions as various different individual. Okay, let's just get into it. But for context, the thing I asked ChatGPT to do was pretend to be my audience and be like different members of the audience. Like, for example, the first question is from Sarah Simmer 99. Can you talk about your favorite Sims 2 expansion packs and why you love them? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Well, like, Sarah, first of all, like I said before, all the expansion packs, like, melted together in my brain. So, like, I can't really think of any specific features for any expansion pack. Like, of course, I know the seasons has seasons in it. Free time has hobbies, I guess, and apartment life has apartments, but, like, they all just seem like one big feature in my mind. So it's hard for me to choose, like, a favorite expansion pack in particular. Gun to my head, I would probably say Open for Business, because it just adds so much to the game. I love running businesses in The Sims 2, and it just feels like an integral part of having a Sims town to me is having Sims who run businesses. It just makes it all the more realistic, and I would have to go with Open for Business. Thank you for your question, Sarah. Okay, question number 2 is from Build Fanatic 89. What's the weirdest or funniest bug you've encountered in The Sims 2? Share your stories. Does watching a music video with a bug count? Because my friend has the most iconic Sims video on YouTube, and it's so niche, and I've been kind of gatekeeping it. But when she was a child, she did a video for a Jordan Sparks song. And during the video, one of the Sims glitches, and, you know, the animation is all off, and it's the funniest thing I've seen. I don't know. I just find it so funny because, like, she kept rolling with it and, like, continued showing the glitched sim instead of just, like, trying to fix the glitch and, you know, reshooting the video. And then the video ends with, like, the Sims becoming vampires because it was, like, during the whole Twilight era. It's an iconic piece of Sims 2 history, and I'm kind of still gonna gatekeep it because it only has, like, 500 views. And, like, I don't know. It's iconic. Maybe I shouldn't gatekeep it, and maybe I should show you guys one of these days. Let me know. Let me know if you want to see that. I'll probably have to, like, ask her permission to actually, like, show you guys, though, because I don't want people, like, flooding a channel she made as a minor, and looking at all her stuff, you know, if she doesn't want that happening, but it's iconic. Question number 3 is from Pixel Plumbob. Have you ever tried to recreate real-life places in The Sims 2? Maybe talk about a memorable one you did or would like to do. Well, I've been trying to kind of do things based off of the Canadian Maritime Provinces. I eventually want to release a neighborhood just inspired by the Maritimes, and I've definitely done some builds inspired by real life places. Like, I did this one based off of a real life place, so I'm definitely open to doing that. Like I said, it's one of my number 1 tips when it comes to building in The Sims 2 or any Sims game. Okay, question number 4 is from Drama Mama Sims. I'd love to hear about your favorite Maxis made Sims drama. Well, who's your go-to chaotic household to play with? Don Lothario. If you've seen any of my TikToks, you could probably figure this out, but I love that man and I love playing him. So that's definitely my go-to household. Number 5 is from Retro Gamer Girl. How about a little nostalgia trip? Talk about your earliest memories playing The Sims 2 and what got you hooked. I talked about this at length before, so you're clearly not a consistent viewer, Retro Gamer Girl. But I'll rehash it just for you, okay? I feel bad bullying the AI. Anyway, my first experience with The Sims was The Sims busting out at my friend's house, and then we eventually moved on to The Sims 2 for PC, and I just always loved it. I loved the concept of, like, making the Sims and watching their genetics, you know, play out from generation to generation. That's what got me hooked. I loved making gorgeous Sims and seeing, you know, their spawn. That I thought that was fun. And I liked the storytelling aspect of The Sims. And yeah, I just started playing it and I never stopped. And number 6 is from Architect Andy. Could you share your thoughts on architecture in general? Maybe even compare Sims 2 builds to real-world design trends. Who do you think I am? Like, is this college? Did I accidentally enroll in a architecture course? Like, what are my thoughts on architecture? Like, I don't know, that seems like it's like an essay worth of things to talk about there. And I'm not sure how I'm supposed to cover that in a Sims 2 speed build. Like, I feel like I have to go and do research now. I don't have a lot of thoughts beyond, like, this building looks cool. I love historical buildings, and I love trying to replicate buildings in The Sims 2. But I don't have any, like, deeper thoughts than that. I'm sorry, Andy. The next question comes from Plumbob Philosophy. What's a life lesson or philosophy you've learned from playing The Sims? I'm curious about how it might connect to your builds. That, again, seems very deep, and I don't think I'm in the headspace to answer that. Like, I've learned to maybe trap Sims in pools. I don't know if that's a life lesson. Drowning is not something my Sims tend to enjoy, so I maybe it is a life lesson to just not drown. Other than that, I'm not sure. The next question comes from Llama Lover 2004. Tell us about the weirdest or most ambitious build you've ever attempted in The Sims 2. Did it work out? My most ambitious builds are definitely when I try to create a whole town from scratch. I tend to get overwhelmed and give up on it very easily. So that's my most ambitious. As for weird, I have an upcoming build that's gonna be kind of weird, but I don't know if I want to talk about it just yet. It involves one of my Build the City Challenge Let's Plays, and it's gonna be a weird build. But I don't want to spoil it. Like, if you watch the Build the City Challenge, you might be able to guess what it is. But that's coming eventually. So look forward to that. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. And question number 10 comes from CC Creatives. How do you find inspiration for your builds? Do you use Pinterest, real world places, or something else? And honestly, a lot of the times I do use Pinterest. I like go on Pinterest and I write like cute house exterior or like family home exterior or something, like just a description of the house and then exterior, and I go from there and I just choose whatever house looks nice and I attempt to replicate it. Sometimes I'm just like, out in the real world and I see a house that I like and I keep that in the back of my mind and maybe even go on Google Maps and look at the house again and try to replicate that in The Sims. Sometimes I just use Google Images or even just go on Google Earth and kind of look around for an interesting house and try to replicate it. Those are my strategies to finding houses. Okay, I guess it's time to talk about the build again a little bit, just a little bit though. The questions from my robotic audience are gonna have to wait. I'm sorry, I don't want to disappoint y'all, but we need to talk about the build. Right now I'm working on the preteen girls room, and I was really trying to capture like the preteen phase where you're kind of like stuck between child and teenager, and I wanted that to kind of reflect in the bedrooms, because like as you're growing up you just don't get rid of all your stuff all at once, or at least I didn't. I still have things in my room today, like from my childhood, and I kind of feel like it's realistic to kind of have like a mixture of things you enjoy as a little child and mixture of things you enjoy as a like preteen child in your preteen bedrooms. And that's what I was trying to go for here. I wanted to include like the toys in this room, but also some things that I feel like preteens would enjoy, like having her own TV in her room along with various books and other kind of like nerdy stuff she enjoys that she definitely inherited from one of her parents, the chess master parent. And yeah, I just really liked how this room turned out. I also liked how the teenage boy's room turned out. He's kind of like an athlete, and I tried to reflect that in his room as well, while keeping some of his components from like childhood in the bedroom as well, because yeah, like I said, like I'm 30 years old and I haven't gotten rid of a lot of my stuff. Like I still have a lot of childhood mementos stored away somewhere, so I didn't want my Sims to get rid of things either. But I'm back to paying attention to my robotic pals. I don't want you guys, my audience, to think that I'm ignoring you or favoring other people and, ignoring the questions you guys ask me. So let's get back into it. The next question is from Drama Binge Bob. Can you recommend any TV shows or movies to watch while playing The Sims? I need background noise suggestions. Now, I'm always the one asking you guys for the suggestions, and I often don't get asked about suggestions myself. I don't normally like play The Sims 2 and watch movies at the same time. Like, I normally have to focus on my game and maybe listen to an audiobook. So, I would recommend just like trying to put on like an easy watch if you really want to watch TV and play The Sims at the same time. Like, I'd put on maybe Pokemon or something you've watched before but wouldn't mind rewatching. So like you can focus on the game when you want to focus on the game, and also, kind of drift off and maybe watch the show while the game is paused for a bit. Like, I just find an easy watch. I feel like I wouldn't want to start a new show where I had to like pay super close attention to the show in order to understand it. And while playing The Sims, I feel like that's not really productive, because I would feel the need to have to rewatch the show to, understand the story. I'd rather just give the show my full attention. So yeah, my recommendation is to find something easy to watch. And for the last question we are answering today is coming from Speed Build Nerd. Can you discuss your process for speed builds? How do you decide what to cut or keep in the video? So I either get my ideas from Pinterest or Google, like I've said before, and then I just build it. I don't do anything special. I just build the build, and I slap the footage into my video editor, and I speed it up 4 times, and then I do my voiceover. Sometimes I cut some things out of the video, but it's not like a thing that I'm constantly doing or really even trying to do, because once you speed up a video like 4 times, it's not really something you need to do unless you spend like way too long doing something, because once it's sped up that much, like, it goes by quickly. Everything goes by quickly, and I consider myself a fairly like fast decision maker when it comes to building in The Sims, and I don't tend to linger on things too long, but if I do linger on something too long, like I can't figure out the roof or I can't figure out how I want to place windows, I'll cut some of that out, because just watching me try to decide something, like even sped up for a solid like minute or two, like it's probably boring, so I don't keep that in the video normally. But other than that, I don't really think all that deeply when it comes to editing, like, at all. Even during my Let's Plays, I'm pretty chill, okay? Like, that chill guy meme has been popping up on my TikTok a lot, and I'm a chill girl sometimes when anxiety isn't, like, crippling my life. But we'll move past that. This is also kind of out of left field, but it's something I want to yap about. It's people online who get bothered by the word unalived. I feel like they don't get the history behind it. Okay, this is one of my fence-sitting rants, okay? Like, be prepared. If you didn't already know, I tend to have very, like, fence-sitting opinions on things that don't matter. I just want to, like, reinforce that, like, things that don't matter. I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about, like, things that don't particularly matter. That's where I am the fence sitter. I am, like, very much, like, opinionated when it comes to important things. I just feel like the people who are complaining about it don't understand why it exists. It's not, like, something that people made because they don't want to say the word murder or killed or died or anything like that. It's not like they're scared of saying the word. It's just they want their content to be pushed out on, like, TikTok algorithms where they censor words like that. And you might be thinking that's not a fence-sitting opinion. Well, wait a second. I'm not done. I also think that true crime content in general is problematic. And this is coming from someone who's watched true crime shows since I was able to have the TV to myself when I was like 10 years old. Like, I've always been watching crime shows, and that's something that I've constantly been consuming. But as I'm getting older, I'm kind of seeing it as problematic in certain cases. Like, I feel like especially some of the newer true crime creators out there on social media are in it for the wrong reasons. They kind of like exploit the victims. They sometimes don't even get their stories right, and they put out information there that could be harmful to the cases. Sometimes they don't do their research like at all, and they only go by one source, and I just feel like it's at the point where some of it is just disrespectful to the victims' families, and maybe even harmful to them. Maybe people should stop using the word unalive and just stop making true crime content altogether, unless you are a professional company who gets the victims' families' attention and, do it right. Like, interview the right people and tell the story the right way, because some of the social media stuff I've been seeing lately has not been it. I mean, there's people who make genuine efforts to try to get the story right and stuff, and I don't think I'm necessarily yapping about those people, but you can tell some people just phone it in and don't put effort into their content, and I feel like that doesn't do the victims justice at all. That's my little yap for the day. I saw somebody complain about the word unalive on Facebook, and I was like, just thinking, they don't understand the reason why it became a thing. And granted, it's become more than it was originally. It was supposed to just be a TikTok thing, and now people are using it on, like, Facebook posts, and, like, Facebook posts aren't really, like, censoring the word murder or whatever. Like, it's become more than just a TikTok thing. And I get how it's kind of annoying, but, like, I feel like we should direct our energy into being annoyed by subpar true crime content, and not just a silly little word being used on TikTok. Like, I get that it's a word made up, and it's not really the best word to go in and out of your ears. However, I feel like there's a bigger issue at hand than just a word made to get by the TikTok censors. But here we are, finishing up the office. Like I said, this office could be converted into a bedroom if you need it to be converted to a bedroom. I was debating adding a nursery to this house, but I decided against it, and I figured that these sets of parents only had the 2 kids, and they used the extra bedroom as an office. I feel like the photographer parent definitely needs a computer to, like, edit their photography, and I imagine that the chess playing parent spends a lot of time on those online chess websites, and is probably one of the top players on them. And maybe the kids play Club Penguin or something, or whatever age appropriate website there is these days. I always feel like The Sims 2 is more set in the mid-2000s, just because the game came out in the mid-2000s. But then again, a lot of my CC is kind of like modern, so I don't even know what year my game is set in. But I like to think my Sims are out there playing Club Penguin. Why not? I mean, I'm aware there's fan-made Club Penguin games out there that you could just literally play Club Penguin on in the modern day. So I guess if my game is set in 2024, they can still play Club Penguin. But I don't know if Club Penguin is popular amongst the kids these days, because, like, it's not an official, like, Disney product anymore. It's just a fan-made thing. I'm not sure if word has gotten around to, like, the children of today that Club Penguin is a fun website with, like, mini games and socialization and, like, decorating your igloo. Like, I don't think the kids today are into that. I don't know. Like, I feel like if I were to go on the Club Penguin fan-made websites, a lot of the players would be like me, 30, and playing it for the nostalgia. Like, I don't imagine little children on it anymore. And speaking of playing it for the nostalgia, I did actually join one of those websites, and I made a penguin with my old penguin name, and it was nice just revisiting the old spots in Club Penguin, for the nostalgia. Maybe we could have a OMG Zephyr Club Penguin meetup. The website is called Club Penguin Legacy, and if you have an account on there, let me know. Maybe we can have a meetup. You can come to my igloo. It will be a good time. I feel like that'd be a fun thing to organize if I had, like, a Discord server. I mean, I have a Discord server. It's just that I don't advertise it, and it's dead. And I kind of want to revive it eventually, but I'm scared, and I don't know how to revive it. And I feel like I want my community to be, like, more cohesive before I kind of revive it. because, like, I don't want it to die again, if that makes sense. It's a whole thing. I don't know how to run a Discord server. I'm scared, but I want it to be a thing. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. But I kind of want to, like, gut my Discord server from the inside out and, like, you know, relaunch it. So we'll see if that's a thing. Speaking of Discord, I just got a Discord message. Maybe that's a sign. I'm not sure if you heard it, but maybe that's a sign that I need to do that soon. But by more cohesive, I mean if I were to start streaming and we were all able to talk to each other more in real time, I feel like we'd be more of a community and it would warrant the Discord server more. That's what I mean by that. But streaming also gives me anxiety and it's a whole thing, so I don't know. It's something I have to power through. Like, once I'm actually, like, streaming and people are talking to me, I do fine because I have streamed before, I know how to stream. But it's just the idea of going live is scary to me. But here we are working on the teenage boys room. Like I said, I imagine the sim is an athlete. I'd put him around like 15 to 16 years old. His room still has that childlike charm to it, but it definitely has like an older sim feel to it too. Like I said, I was really going for that mixture of like childhood and teen in these bedrooms. But if you're liking the build so far, it is actually available to download. That's why I keep saying that you can convert that office into a bedroom if you want, because this build is available to download, and it'll be linked down below on my Patreon. Of course, it's for free. Charging for Sims builds would be kind of cringy, and it's actually something people do, and it's cringy. It is cringy. Also, I have a decent number of builds on my Patreon. I'm developing a pretty decent little catalog of builds, and I always find it nice when I'm downloading houses that they tend to look kind of similar. Because I feel like it makes more sense to have similar looking houses in the same neighborhood. And I feel like I have a very, like, distinct building style, and all my houses tend to look good together, kinda, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm just tooting my own horn, but when I used to download a lot of houses back in the day for my Sims games, I tended to only gravitate towards, like, 2 or 3 creators, because I wanted my neighborhoods to look cohesive. I wanted the houses to look like they belong together, and I like that I'm developing enough of a catalog that I feel like people could populate their neighborhoods with my downloads. That just makes me happy, because that is something that I definitely enjoyed doing back in the day before I was really a builder. And this is another little story that I've told before, but I feel like it's important, because if you don't consider yourself a builder in The Sims 2, or any Sims game, because you're bad, I used to be bad too. Like, I was literally on Mod The Sims as a 13-year-old, trying to enter Sims building contests, and dropping out when I saw my competition, because they were actually competent Sims builders, and I just built, like, boxes that were not even decorated. Like, I could not build, but I wanted to build. I aspired to build. And it just took practice to get where I'm at now. So if you actually enjoy building and want to get better at it, just keep at it. Keep watching speed builds and trying to improve your building abilities. Like, keep, like, looking around at actual architecture and seeing what people do, creating homes and stuff, both in real life and in the game. And you'll eventually get better. That's my advice. But if you don't find building to be a, you know, experience that makes you happy or fun, definitely just, like, download houses from, like, the gallery or other websites. Like, there's nothing stopping you. Of course, like, Sims 2 doesn't have a gallery, but you know what I'm saying. Sims 2 has my Patreon and a backlog of like 20 years of other people building homes too that you could download, but you also have my Patreon, so you can definitely just download your Sim house of choice from one of those places and go about your day. How many of you have actually made it this far into the video? Like, let me know. Comment bananas down below. Like, if you've genuinely sat there and listened to me for like 40 plus minutes, I feel like you deserve a medal. Albeit this is one of my best builds of all time, but I recognize the fact that my speed builds are all over the place. Like, my voiceovers are all over the place. But I feel like that's part of the charm. However, like, in 40-minute doses, that might be a bit much. So, like, I'm proud of you for sticking with me. Let me know if you want to see some longer builds in the future too, because this took a lot. This was a lot of time and effort, and I'm so proud of the result, but it was a lot. So if you guys, like, just want to see those tiny little speed builds, let me know. But if you want to see an occasional longer speed build, I'm definitely down to do it again. But I feel like these longer videos have value too, because like I said, I just want to show you guys what this game is capable of being like. And sometimes I just feel like a 20-minute video doesn't cut it. Sometimes I really like watching longer speed builds actually. Like if I'm just trying to veg out and relax before bed, I want to put on a longer video in general. I don't like the 20-minute videos. I need like a good like hour or so to like relax and chill, and I don't want to have to put on a video and then 20 minutes later try to find another video. I want to commit to a longer video sometimes so I can like relax and chill and not have to worry about much. So I feel like these videos have value in that way as well. Also, I just want to point out again my commitment to the black accents in this build. Like I said, I always go for white windows and white doors, and I even went with black doors in this build, and I'm just excited about it. I think it works really good and suits the house, and I don't know. I just feel like I need to step out of my comfort zone more often because this is exciting to me. Like, I always viewed the darker wood options in this game to be like more depressing, and I just never used it, but I feel like I made it work here. My house doesn't look sad, it just looks put together and nice. The one thing that the ensuite bathroom doesn't have is a shower, but I kind of sacrificed it to have this like luxury bathtub moment. When I think of luxury, I think of bathtubs in the middle of the room, like not against the wall, and I wanted that to happen in here. Plus, like I said, there's 2 other bathrooms that have showers, so I don't think it's a huge issue. This is just the luxury bathtub where mommy and daddy go to get away from the children. If I were to add a item to The Sims 2, it would be a bigger bathtub, like one of those like luxurious like corner bathtubs. You know the ones I'm talking about. Like I feel like that'd be a good item in The Sims 2. I think they exist in The Sims 3. That's why I'm thinking of them. I haven't played The Sims 3 in like forever. Maybe I should. But like I feel like it'd be a good item in The Sims 2, and I'm always like seeking one out when I'm making a house like this because that screams luxury to me. But I had to do this setup instead. But we're getting towards the end of the build now. I might as well talk about it a little bit more. I am just finishing up the primary bedroom here. It's not super exciting. It was at this point of the build where I was getting kind of tired, but I think it ended up being quite cute. I didn't overly decorate it. Maybe these Sims follow the philosophy that bedrooms should just be for sleeping, and they do all their other creative endeavors outside the bedroom, besides like creatively woohooing, but whatever. I'm sure that happens in the bedroom. But yeah, these Sims don't feel the need to fill their bedroom up with stuff. They just have a bed, bedside tables, a armoire, and a vanity, and that's really all they need. Another little thing I did for this build was I created a little playground outside for the kids. So there's like a nice little barbecue spot for the parents to maybe like host parties at, and a nice little play area for kids to play in. Like I said, I wanted to fill this house with activities, and I wanted it to like inspire gameplay, like I had a family in mind for this house, and it helped a lot because I feel like I put a lot of personality into it, and I don't know, I'm hyping myself up a lot right now, but I'm super proud of this build, and I'm happy I get to share it with you guys. There's also a hot tub in the backyard, so the parents get to have like a little creative woohoo spot for their creative bedroom endeavors outside the bedroom, so they have that going for them. See, the parents are okay. They don't have a lot of things to do in the bedroom, but they're okay. They make do. There's not a lot of items in their bedroom, but they don't need it. Stanley gets fed twice a day and watered. He's okay. Don't you worry about Stanley. Dude, I'm seeing reviews for the Minecraft movie. Well, not reviews, just like pictures for the Minecraft movie. The reviews aren't out yet. The movie's not out yet. And everyone's criticizing it. And it's just making me think of The Sims and the fact that they're gonna be coming out with a movie. I'm hoping it's not the level of cringe that Minecraft is radiating right now. I hope the reception to Minecraft isn't gonna damper the idea of making movies based off video games to the general public. I'm scared. I'm not convinced Minecraft is gonna be a good movie, but like, I think The Sims has potential to be a good movie, and I don't want people to be like, well, Minecraft was bad, so clearly this one is gonna be bad too. Like, I hope The Sims gets Barbie treatment vibes and not Minecraft treatment vibes. But the thing is, The Sims is kind of like, if you think about it, it's a mixture of Barbie and Minecraft. So like, maybe that means The Sims movie is gonna be mid? Maybe that's my prediction. The Sims movie will be mid. Just based on that, very scientific reasoning I put out there. I genuinely hope it's not, though. I hope it's great. I hope it's Barbie levels of success. It's just I'm being a little realistic, because I feel like us older fans have high expectations for what the movie could bring, and I feel like there's a high chance of us being disappointed, because I don't feel like a studio would want to market towards a kind of niche group of people who have been playing the game for a long time, if that makes sense. I feel like they want to market to a more broader audience, and I feel like that would mean a lot of us are going to end up disappointed in it. But I'm also trying to remain hopeful that they'll find a story that appeals to older generations of Simmers and younger generations of Simmers. I'm still hoping. I hope it's not just like a cash grab. Like, I hope it's cinema. I hope it's good. Anyway, we are getting towards the end of the video now. It's honestly been a journey. I've been recording this voiceover like all day with breaks in between, obviously, but it's taken me a while. We are going to be going into some screenshots soon. Stick around for them. I think I do a pretty good job editing them, and, you know, it makes the build shine. Like, it shows you the essence of the build before you download it. And of course, you don't have to download my builds. You could just like take inspiration from them. Because I think watching other Simmers build things also helps improve your skills. Like, I've been watching speed builds for years, and I think that helped me out a lot. As a reminder, this build is available to download, link down below on my Patreon if you would like to download it. And if you guys like the video, please give it a like. Subscribe if you want to see more Sims 2 content, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys.